Hey, it's your CEO, Weekend Gabe, and thanks for watching Weekend at Gabe's. We hope that you enjoy this latest episode. While you're here, hit the subscribe button and follow us on YouTube. Thanks for watching.
All right, it's 8:07. So, Sam, you know what time it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get into it. Joe Biden doesn't give a fuck about what we are about to do. But ladies and gentlemen, this is not the news that your mom cares about or your dad cares about. It's the news that only one man cares about, and that's why it's news that only Weekend Gabe cares
about. All right, here we go. Listen,
first of the year. First of the year, baby.
The first story of the year. We're number one. The first Bears drafting number one since 1947. It's been that long since we had the first pick.
And we really need to have pre-draft. We need to have Ken Davis back on the show.
Big time.
Sports Chicago.
Big time.
And we need to talk about what we're going to do with this pick. Because, Gabe, the big question on everybody's mind is, do you trade Justin Fields or do you draft a quarterback? You know? Or do you stick with Justin Fields or do you draft a quarterback, I should say?
The only trade that's happening is trading the number one pick for more picks and getting players in return. We're sticking with Justin Fields. It's Fields all day. I mean, look what he did with what he had. I think that he should be nominated for a Purple Heart for his heroics this year. This is I say this in all seriousness. My man took major hits and got no flags on a lot of those late hits, and he still bounced back, even though he missed a couple games. But still,
the NFL doesn't want to protect black quarterbacks, but that's for another day. But listen, what I will say about Justin Fields is that we were, as you can see by our clinched number one draft pick, the worst team in the league all season. But
Big
what
facts.
Made Sundays fun was watching that number one run really fast and for like 70 yards. That dude is fucking awesome, man. It is fun to watch. So, yeah, I hope we stick with Justin Fields. I hope that we don't actually draft with the number one pick. I would prefer to get like 2 first-rounders and a player for somebody. But I'm sure we won't get into the traction of those conversations until after the draft combine and see what we're working with. But
we'll have free agency first and then the draft, so we'll know what the Bears, what they spend their cash on, because they have a boatload of it, and then what they'll fill in their holes with.
That's what they keep telling me.
It's good. And listen, this is going to be the greatest Chicago sports offseason of all time. Good or bad, it's going to be the greatest.
Word up, that's what you're committing to?
The greatest.
You heard it here first. Say it one more time.
The greatest.
The greatest what, Gabe?
Off-season. We're celebrating the off-season. The benchmarks are so low that this is all we have to celebrate is off-season.
Yeah. Draft picks. Ladies and gentlemen, wait till next year, as our beloved Cubbies like to say.
All right, let's get into some real news. What happened on the House of Representatives floor last Friday? Sam doesn't follow me on Twitter because he hates me. But if
you always talk about things that are happening on the House floor, and truly, I don't give a shit. But yeah.
But it was such an old person thing to do. But everyone was watching C-SPAN last Friday night when this vote was being taken for like 5 times on Friday. I think it was the 11th. I think they have no video. There was the 11th vote on Friday, and they voted 5 times. And then of course, if you were watching the action, this shithead was sitting there idling and waiting for something to happen, which never happened until late Friday. But then this happened. This was the greatest moment I've ever seen on the House floor. I've never seen anything like this.
So many things are funny about this photo. One, is that a headlock, a chokehold, or a...
man.
Please don't say what I think you're trying to say. You know, what is that? What is that hand grasp motion? Also, that guy's hair is fake, right? You know,
that's
grabbed.
That's his real hair.
No, bullshit. I am not buying that for a second. Look at that shit. A gust of wind will blow that shit right off his head.
It looked like some tumbleweeds for sure. But
that shit is a tumbleweed, bro, on the top of his fucking head. That's so funny. And the funniest part is that not pictured on the screen. Isn't he yelling at Matt fucking Gates?
Yes.
Child pedophile Matt fucking Gates?
Sex trafficker Matt Gates.
Matt fucking Gates? Jesus
Yep.
Christ, man. What a time to be alive.
This was great. I said on Twitter that if you're going to put your hand around my mouth, you better have a safe word first. So,
yeah, I'm giving you a bruh for that.
I'm just saying that this looks a little bit too kinky for my GOP. My GOP doesn't do the kink.
Like, you ever just look at a photo like this and, you know, obviously there's the rising action in the center, but what's going on with that guy's bow tie over there on the right?
I don't know.
You know, it's like,
yo, my man never seen
like a.
He's never seen violence before. He's like, yo, break it up.
Bow tie is doing like a Mr. Burns hands thing, you know? Like,
yeah.
What is going on, man?
But C-SPAN was on and popping last Friday, man. I can't even begin to explain to you how awesome it was.
I wish I paid for basic cable and had the ability to tune into that, but apparently not.
All right. Well, there was a House of Representative is sitting idle who no one fucks with. His name is George Santos. If you didn't hear about this during the last couple of weeks, the New York Times broke the story that he completely fabricated most, if not all, of his background, his resume, his career, his life. Everything about it is a fucking lie.
He's a Democrat, right?
No, he's a Republican.
Oh.
But this reminds me of that conversation we had with Tribble about a year and a half ago, where we talked about applying for jobs and interviewing with jobs, and she said, lie on your resume, but there was a disclaimer. She said, don't OD though, don't go crazy. And this guy clearly didn't get the memo, not to tune it down just a little bit. If you're gonna say you're gonna work for Goldman Sachs, don't say you're an executive. Maybe put yourself in the mailroom.
Do anything else, you know? It's like, man, what a time to be alive. So what's the deal there? Is he gonna get pulled? What like?
No. So yesterday there was a lot of news that the New York Republican group, they all came together and said that he should resign, that they're not going to work with him, and George Santos refuses to resign. He says he's not going to resign, and that he was voted in, and his constituents, if they didn't want him to be there, they would tell him. And then, of course, that led into a great Twitter thread of constituents saying that they tried to call his office, but it goes straight to voicemail.
The phone
I love it. Can't get your call if it doesn't work.
I love it here. What a time to be alive.
Man, this next 2 years are going to be amazingly awful. I'm buckled in and ready to go. All right, let's go into the next news. All right, check it out, man. Our favorite superstar of the 2020s. Listen, man, Bad Bunny is not for the shits, man.
Nah.
This hit I saw this on Twitter right after the New Year, and this was amazing.
Go, Bad Bunny. Go, man. You throw those fans' phones.
Exactly.
Phone.
But all right, let's go to the video. Then we'll have response afterwards.
Okay.
Fuck your shit. Look at the swag, too. Look at the swag. Wow. Zero fucks.
Yeah. We love that.
Zero fucks. Do they not know that Bad Bunny wrestles when he's not being the biggest pop star? Do they not know that Bad Bunny is that dude?
This is a lesson in please be respectful when talking to human beings. Fuck the celebrity, bro. Like, it really is just like, hey, man, I am walking here. If you asked nicely for a photo, I would have stopped giving you your photo, kept walking. But nah, your ass decided to walk right in front of me with your fucking, get your shit spiked. Get your shit river thrown. Whatever needs to happen, man. Shout out to Bad Bunny, man. Do you have the response? Do you have his response?
No, he just mentioned that it was disrespectful.
He said to some effect that there's a difference between like wanting a picture and disrespect. And if I see disrespect, I'm gonna take it as a sign of disrespect, and your phone is disrespected into the river.
I love it. I love
fantastic.
it.
Fantastic, man. What it's just he's the biggest artist out right now. Period. End of story. And what an incredible dude, man. Like so cool. So cool. Steve Lacy, Bad Bunny, Summer of Terror 2023. I want the tour. You want the tour. Everybody wants the tour, man. Summer of Terror, Bad Bunny, Steve Lacy. We all
man, zero fucks tour. There you go. I already got the title for you guys. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, our next story is coming back from the dead. I don't know if you've ever done this before. I sure haven't.
Mark Twain did it once.
I mean, why not, right? Romance author who was believed to be dead appeared to return, and then the story got more complicated. Let's go back to September 2020. Susan Meachin, who is an author of romantic books, posted on a Facebook group page that she was the daughter of Susan Meachin, and she had passed and killed herself because she was being bullied by this group of writers. And then fast forward 2 years after the daughter said that her last book should be bought by everyone to support it, suddenly returned to tell everyone like, hey, guess who's back?
The reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated. Yes.
So everyone's, saying foul that this was a scam to generate money for her books because everyone went and supported and bought the book because this was supposed to be her last book. And this was her response on Facebook, that she debated how to do this and that there's a lot of questions and that I almost died again at my own hand. And they had to go through all that hell again. Returning to the ward doesn't mean much, but I am in a good place now and I am hoping to write again. Let the fun begin. Fuck.
Nothing about faking your. All right, let's just start.
They all got catfish.
Let's start with a baseline. Let's talk about the definition of the word fun. Fun, hanging out with friends. Fun, riding a Ferris wheel. You know what's not fun? Death in any form, bro. Not fun. You ever just walk down the street, you're having fun, you see a dead pigeon, stops the fun right there. That's it. That's no more fun, you know?
Right.
No to all of this. This is not fun. You doing an apology tour afterwards is not fun. I get that you have mental health problems, but this just underscores the mental health problems for me. It doesn't absolve them, man. Like, this is bad. This is bad.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is that there's a whole Reddit thread about this, and some of the people who were in this group, the daughter or her, Susan herself, who was portraying her daughter, telling this group that she had died, had said that this woman in the group was one of the bullies that had caused her to die. And so this woman is carrying this guilt of like she had like contributed to this woman's death, only to find out 2 years later that it was just a ruse to get people to understand the pain that she was experiencing. That's fucking hardcore.
Yeah. It is fucking hardcore, man. Yeah, man.
I don't know if I had the balls to do that.
I don't know what I'm doing if I've been like guilt tripping myself for 2 years and then I found out it was all for naught. You know, like realistically, whoever the bully was, like she definitely like shaved 5 years off of her life.
Yeah. And so then other authors were like leaving her these wonderful quotes, you know, an author of what she called perfectly flawed romances. The world is less bright without her. Yo! And they put it in print. So someone owns this.
Incredible. This is so wild, bro. Who would do that? All right, what is the scenario that needs to happen for Weekend Gabe to fake his own death? And please don't say doing the show on February 2nd.
I don't know. I could never bring my. I can't do it. I won't catfish the world like that, man. I just can't do it.
No. It's just like, you know, like you're not catfishing. I mean, you're catfishing some of the world, definitely. But clearly, your family is in on this. So, like, ultimately, what you buy yourself is essentially 2 years of COVID lockdown time. You're not going to the grocery store. You're not doing anything. You're in the crib, you know, for 2 years. And, you know, what would that buy you? What was the scenario be where you had to do that?
I don't know, man.
What is there a Twitter beef large enough? You know what? Don't answer that. Let's move on to the next.
It would have to be so like it would have to be such a powerful viral moment that has negative connotations to it that would have to make me hide and then tell everyone I just killed myself.
What like a Bartman experience?
Yeah, but like maybe even worse than that. You know, something like I don't know.
There's not a fate worse than the Bartman. You know, like Bartman is worse than death. Dog.
I mean, that was bad, but imagine how like 10 times worse that would have been.
Somehow, you know what's more metal? Somehow, Steve Bartman is still alive and working his 9 to 5. Susan Meacham is also still fucking alive.
She's in the world somewhere.
Oh my god,
man!
She at least got the pussy out for 2 years.
But you're alive, but now do you want to stay in this world? You might have to rethink that. All right, let's De La Soul. All their albums are coming to the streaming platforms, DSPs in March. It's going down. It's been finally haggled. They are now the owners of their masters. It's coming out on the digital streaming platforms. I can't wait to hear the Grind Date. I can't wait to hear Stakes is High. I can't wait to hear the AOI series. There's so much shit that I want to hear and listen to on my phone without having to dig through a crate full of CDs. I'm excited. Sam, I don't think you're excited about this at all.
I mean, I can't. De La Soul is one of those groups to me, and maybe this is because they didn't commit to the streaming, which I think we boiled down to they couldn't get the samples cleared, or it was more.
Yeah, it wasn't up to them. Yeah, it
more expensive to clear the samples than it was to produce the album. All of that stuff being well and good, they haven't been a part of the conversation for a long time. So excited to hear them back. You know, get your money, bro. I hope you're cashing these streaming checks wherever that shit is dropping. Break of Dawn is a great song, but a lot of the De La Soul songs, I know some of them when they come on, I'm like, oh, I like this song. Who's this by? And then people are like De La Soul, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I never get the title of the song or think about it too much. So that's just how I feel. I feel very indifferent. But as far as like late 80s rappers getting their money, come on, dog. Yeah, let's go.
I mean, it's late 80s, but they transcend that. I mean, they've been active for 20 years. I mean, they were just recently nominated for a Grammy like 5-6 years ago for the Anonymous album. But
I listened to that. Didn't they have an album with J. Cole had a feature on it?
I think that's the Anonymous. It's like Someone Anonymous or something like that.
I think so. I will listen to them, bro. You know, they come on the road trip. You know, it's no disrespect. I'm just, you know.
Well, I mean, generation. So this came up on a like one of those hip hop threads of like the best hip hop groups of all time, and people were like obviously mentioning all the greats, Outkast, Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep, and then they were like, you guys keep exempting De La Soul, and I was like, yeah, because their fucking music isn't available. People who weren't there when these records came out and don't physically own them, they don't have access to understand or go back and listen to this stuff or create an opinion about whether or not they're great or not because it's not available. I mean, you can probably go to YouTube and find some of it, but it's scattered. It's not like the full piece. So I hope that this will open up some new fans, people who aren't aware or weren't aware of how much they were they influenced so many artists.
Kids on it, man. That's heritage. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, as much as like the playlist stuff is kind of like, man, it has its pros and cons.
I think it speaks to. Wait, go ahead.
The playlist idea to me has some pros and cons to it, right? But for my son, who is now like exploring like MF Doom, Boot Camp Click, all these 90s groups through playlists and sort of the algorithm like likening to similar things. And he's like, oh yeah, I heard this. And these are stuff that I don't play around him. I think it's great. So I'm hoping that De La Soul starts to get sprinkled into these playlists and that younger artists or younger listeners will now start to like filter through and like, oh, this is kind of dope. Oh, this is great. So
yeah, I think there's something to be said about like the niche boutique release as far as like we've had artists on here before who are just doing the Bandcamp sales or just doing all of this. And they say, oh, because I wanted to keep this purity of form. I want to make sure people buy this physical copy. We had was a Great Sky on here giving out tapes, like for real ass tapes with game cartridges and all this stuff.
Right,
All
right.
that retro stuff is cool, but at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, you do have to embrace the thing. Otherwise, you become not a part of the conversation. And for all intents and purposes, De La Soul have not been a part of the conversation for the better part of 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, Spotify's been around for like 11 years.
Yeah,
like 12 years.
But I mean, like even before then, you know, it's like
nobody they got lost in the sauce
De
for
La
real.
Soul off fucking LimeWire. So I mean, like, you know, basically, if you're an artist and you're sitting there and you're watching this, man, like just go and embrace anywhere that you can put your music. If you can put it there and you will get money for people playing it on any platform, bro. It doesn't matter how small, bro. Like we had Haji Gaviotas talking about uploading songs to Audius. I'm on Audius every week, but it's like, I'm not saying you're gonna get rich off of the Audius token, but at the same time, access is everything. You know,
Yeah.
Why only be on Apple and Spotify and not Tidal? You know, it's like it doesn't make any sense to not be everywhere.
Listen, man, those pennies turn into dollars. So, like, and don't undervalue your music.
Though, because I've been there, but that's okay.
Well, we'll talk to KO. Let's see if he's turned some of those pennies into dollars.
It's all about influence these days. You can't have any influence if you're not. If you're not part of the conversations. Like you can't.
If you're not gonna play the game, don't get upset that you're not winning. You know, it's like you have to invest into it.
And to De La Soul's credit, I don't think they're sitting back whining about this. But at the same time, really nice to see their stuff on streaming. And I hope we get some new fans, man.
Yeah, and they can actually make some money off their music. I mean, imagine that being around for 30 years. And
who knows? We don't know what deal they signed. I read a Wikipedia article. It looked pretty complicated on who gets those royalties.
I mean, they're gonna get something out of it, but you know, maybe
they're gonna get something. It might not be the whole piece, though.
I don't know how you spit 0.007 cent 3 ways. You know, go figure. All right. On that happy note, that is this tonight's news that Gabe only cares about on this first Thursday of 2023.
Thanks for watching this latest episode. We hope that you enjoyed it. If you're looking for more, click on any of the episodes swirling around my head. And also, don't forget to follow us on the socials at Weekend Gabe, at Weekend at Gabe's, and also at The Real Sam Crane. All right. Thanks for watching, y'all.